Okay, ladies and gentlemen, somebody needs to tell me what the problem is with Dr. Asue at a birthday ceremony of Chief Mike Ogiadome, where all and sundry have been invited. It was a cross-cultural celebration. It was a multi-party celebration. It was a celebration of friends across several divides: business, politics, religion, ethnicity. We had the Afemai people, we had the Benin people, we had the Asa people, we had people from outside the shores of the state, we had people from outside the shores of the country. Somebody was celebrating his 50th, his 70th birthday. Even the Bible says, rejoice with those who are rejoicing. Even during war, there's a ceasefire. In many countries where there's war, when there are celebrations, people cease fire. During Christmas, a whole lot of countries that are at war cease fire. Sometimes they even cease fire during the death of an important person in that country, or during the birthday of the president of that country. It's not every time. It is the war is not 365 days. There are times where people cease fire. So those who are raising no small hoopla about that gesture, that he shared a bottle of wine with Asue Oshiomhole, in which case it was Asue Oshiomhole that walked up to him, have not given us the alternative. If it was Asue that went to share the bottle of wine with him, it would have been understandable. But it was Asue Oshiomhole seeking for closure, and I will discuss that, towards the end of this video. But somebody should tell me, under this circumstance, what Dr. Asue should actually have done. Are you suggesting that whilst Asue Oshiomhole was walking to him, you should have turned his back, or you should have refused to share a bottle of wine with him? And I'm trying to understand it, because if you know the person of Dr. Asue Ighodalo, he is from the finest of grains, a thoroughbred businessman, a well brought up young man, brought up by well educated parentage, because a lot of times our parentage form our opinion in matters like this. If you grew up in a barbose environment where your father constantly plummeted your mother, and your mother responded by grabbing your father by the scrotum, or you grew up in an environment where there was constant attacks on each other, and it was a noisy environment, you would probably be disappointed that Dr. Asue Ighodalo will share that kind of moment with Asue Oshiomhole, and it was an innocuous moment as far as Asue Ighodalo is concerned, because this is a two-way traffic. It's like a transaction. It's like a debit and a credit. Somebody got up from his seat seeking closure. His conscience was probably worrying him that in spite of all of the gibberish, in spite of all of the rubbish that he said about this young man is still coming out in the public place, perhaps unperturbed. But the point is this: our upbringing matters a great deal. A man cannot give what he does not have. Dr. Asue Ighodalo does not have hate in him. Asue Ighodalo does not hold grudges. I had the opportunity just about a month ago to still sit in the campaign council of Joe Okoje. And you would have thought that since Dr. Asue Ighodalo couldn't be governor anymore, his disposition to the party or his disposition to an election would have changed. But for more than 2 weeks, spending hundreds of millions of naira, in spite of the ones that he spent during the election, he was in Edo Central. I was in that campaign team, and we still transversed the length and breadth of Ohodua to Uromi, from Uromi to Emu, from Emu to Ekoma. We were going up and down and in all these movements, Dr. Asue Ighodalo was still with us in all of that movement. He even had to leave at one particular Wednesday. He had to go to Ovia to still go and campaign with the party chairman for our candidate in Ovia, and came back. So he was here for 2 weeks, abandoned his businesses and contacts and everything that he had to do in Abuja and in Lagos, and sacrificed that to say, look, we've got to do this for our party. We've got to do this for Joe Koji. Somebody should ask me, among all of the major critical holders in this party, in the last election, about a fortnight ago, how many people have been involved with the party the way Dr. Asue Ighodalo has been involved with the party? He's not a natural noise maker. He's not a rabble rouser. He's not an attention seeker. Because people think that discipline or being tough is when you make a lot of noise, when you talk all the time, like Oshiomhole. I don't think that's what discipline is. Discipline is steadfastness. It's being consistent with your principle. It's to be able to say no in the morning, say no in the afternoon, to the same thing that you said no to at night. It is not flip-flopping. You say this one today, you say this one tomorrow. It reminds me of the story between East Germany and West Germany. East Germany poured all manner of rubbish, all manner of debris on the side of West Germany. By the next day, West Germany replied them by putting all manner of confectionaries and provision on the side of the wall of East Germany with a note: a man can only give what he has. People were brought up for kingship. They were not brought up for the street. Asue Ighodalo was brought up for kingship, because I know another story of a young boy who they wanted to train to curse because the father, the king, was perceived to have been very wicked while he was alive. And they thought that the young boy at the age of 12, fine gentleman, if they killed him like that, he will go to heaven. And they thought the father was too wicked for the boy to go to heaven. So they gave him to a witch, for the witch to teach him how to curse. And after 6 months, the witch could not succeed in teaching him how to curse. And the witch was bewildered. I said, why is it difficult for you to say stupid? Why is it to say you're fat? Why is it difficult for you to say Obo, kill you, and all of those things that people say that make me shirk sometimes? And the boy said, I was brought up as a king. We know they talk like that. Kings don't just carry talk. Asue Ighodalo he was brought up in the finest of patterns, and the best he could do was to be open to such a gesture, except you are suggesting that he will have acted otherwise, which will have been a dent on his own character. The man has been consistent in demonstrating that he is different, he is friendly, he is disposed to principles, he doesn't discuss personality, he discusses the issues. I think that we're missing the point. The point should actually have been turned to the other man on the other side, because in that picture, in that scenario, there are two characters. We have a character who doesn't discuss people, he doesn't insult people, who just deals with the principles, the issues on ground. Then we have another character who constantly flip-flops, who is constantly like a chameleon, who just blends into an environment that he finds himself. How, for instance, can you explain that in one of the guys one of the characters that was there, all right, lost his wife some years ago, and his wife happened to come from the same village with Asue Ighodalo, and during the burial, he stayed in Asue Ighodalo's house, only for him during the election to say Asue Ighodalo does not have a house in Ewokimi. And it is disheartening, because we do not hold high moral standards in this part of the country. We think that everything is a game, everything is a sport, and even in sport, even in combat sport, there are still rules in combat sports. Even when we are fighting, there are still rules in combat sport. For instance, when the bell is wrong, you still cannot hit people. In most combat sports, you can't hit people at the back of the head. In a lot of combat sport, you can't use your knee, you can't use your elbow. especially in boxing. You can't use a whole lot of parts of your body. You can't say because it's combat sport, you are fighting, you kick somebody in the groins or you kick somebody in the scrotum. So when we say it's a game, it's a game. Even games have their own rules and regulations. Even during war, you don't take prisoners captive. So this one that we accept everything that some of our leaders do in the name of politics, because we're looking at how it benefits us, how it advances our political party, speaks much about the kind of person that we are. So we should turn our picture to, the comrade senator who will flip from, who doesn't care, no boundaries, no conditions, no anything. He can see anything and do anything and pretend like nothing happened. And we, their followers, we say it is just a sport, it is just a game, it doesn't matter. As if during politics somebody can rape your wife, can rape your children, and then you say it was politics. It is. And then people who died during politics say, oh, is that political death? People died. Because I can't seem to separate political crime from real crime in society. You can't assassinate somebody's character and talk, anyhow. Stay out of the core issues of campaign and just, throw all and go so low only for you at a party to walk up to him and you want to share wine with him. So I think that we're focusing on the wrong person. And for those who are dragging, Asue and all of this, you don't have to comment every time. You don't always have to have an opinion. I didn't want to have an opinion on this matter. But when I saw people talking, I said, please, those who are, what is the alternative? Except you give me an alternative of what Asue would have done. Your cry of betrayal is needless. Your cry of betrayal is alarmist. Your cry of betrayal is attention seeking. You can't use an event to say the man has betrayed. Come on, we need to grow beyond this attention seeking, camera grabbing, focus seeking things. No, you don't have to be heard all the time. You can just keep quiet and watch things unfold. An election took place a month ago, and by my estimation, I am not sure that what Asue used to sustain himself, and he came with a robust team, his own team that he bankrolled. I am not too sure that the man would have spent again another hundreds of millions. After the Supreme Court judgment, the man still came around. He still came around and still gathered party members and gave each local government 2 million, totaling about 36 million. So somebody should ask me, what has happened now for us to cry wolf and say the Asue has betrayed? One event of sharing wine? Because you need to tell us what you know. You need to, if you know more than that it already is, then you tell us. But to say for one event, then you say the man has betrayed. He is the one that is in, he's the only person that is here with us. I mean, he's the only person he's the only one that we see. He's practically been the lifeline of the party. And then this instance of people who, quote and unquote, worked for a party and feel aggrieved or leave another party. Some of the languages that we use afterward is disheartening. It was fun while it lasted. It was fun while I was in PDP. I don't have a problem with PDP. It was fun. But now I have a new party and I want to focus on my new party. But that we were friends together. We ate amala together. We danced together. We were on the field together. We embraced each other. There were a lot of things that we did together. And then you move to a new party and then all of a sudden, all those things that we share together do not matter. I have a problem with it. What happened in Rome should stay in Rome and it should die in Rome. I keep saying that. It's a function of our upbringing. Many of us were not brought up with the finest of principles and practice. So when we become adults, we become loose adults, we become weak adults, we become attention-seeking people. Because like somebody said, all the people that police declared wanted, if their parents had wanted them when they were young, police would not have declared them wanted. That's why Godalo is a public servant. Well, actually, it's a public personality. All right, he's no longer a private person, and he's conducted himself in the finest of ways. This generation, we need a new breed without greed. We need new role models. We've got to make people to know that the role models that we used to have not served our purposes. We've got to shift attention from the style of politics of the Adams or Oshiomholes, of the Wikis, and some other wicked people, and then begin to tell our young people that you can actually run these things, staying on principles, no bitterness, no envy, no nothing. Because putting two of them together, you will find out that the winner in the whole of that picture is actually Asue. He has demonstrated again and again that he is a fine gentleman, and I support him 100%, because under the circumstance there was nothing that he could have done. And those of you who are raising dust, please tell us what the alternative is. Number one, should he have walked away? Should he have turned his back? Wouldn't he have just shown that he's not different from the people that we are trying to get out of the political circle, who has given us wrong vibes? I think that the vibes are right, and in anywhere in the world, I think that the way he went is the way that he should have gone. This is my humble logomaki, and my logomaki is without logo and passion.